Hello guys, in today's video I'm going to compare two weapons for Tinery, Hunter's Path and Amos Bow.
Let's start with his signature weapon, Hunter's Path.
もっと早く逃げた方がいい。
ついてきて。見えないだろ。やっ。それ。
俺相手によくここまで持つな。
試練満員だよ。めくれまし。それ。やっ。それ。渚のリン一応目を覆えばやっ見えないだろ
Now I will show you Hunter's Path build. With his signature weapon you have to focus on elemental mastery. It adds base damage to his arrows based on EM, which is pretty good because it will increase his spread damage and passive. Although building elemental mastery on him will not increase much his skill or burst damage unlike Amos Bow. Now let's test Amos Bow. Tinery is slightly lacking crit rate, but that's fine, thanks to his Constellation 1. You can already see that his raw dendro damage is slightly higher than Hunter's Path, although I had to sacrifice his elemental mastery to attack. Now here's where Amos Bow dominates Hunter's Path in terms of damage. Thanks to additional attack Amos Bow provides, his burst damage is nearly double. As you can see, his spread damage is slightly lower than in Hunter's Path case. But as I said before, attack substats work much better for Amos Bow, so I had to sacrifice elemental mastery. But there's a downside when using Amos Bow. Although it provides lots of attack, its substat doesn't skip crit, which is a shame. So when your crit ratio is bad, you will be forced to increase crit rate and the same time sacrificing crit damage. But if you have good artifacts with good crit ratio, you don't really have to worry. Now let's see the results. So now, is his signature weapon really this good? Looking at the results, it seems that Amos Bow really outDPS's Hunter's Path, not only in charged attack damage, but also his skill and burst deal nearly 2 times more. Which may seem now that Hunter's Path is a worse choice, but I still haven't calculated his total spread damage with charged attacks. So let's assume 2 hits from his charged attack got spreaded, Wreath Arrow and 1 of Cluster Bloom arrows. Total damage from his charged attack with spread ended up dealing 76783. And now let's see how Amos Bow handles that reaction. Amos Bow got a little worse result here compared to Tinery's signature weapon, dealing only 65,712, which is nearly 10,000 less damage. Well, it's no surprise considering Amos Bow had much less elemental mastery. Although it still isn't that bad because double skill and burst damage are going to make up for it. sometimes Tinery is able to spread 2 times, which again, works better for Hunter's Path. But as I said before, when you're switching to amos bow, you will most likely have to increase your crit rate, and in the same time decrease crit damage, and the final damage may end up being even lower. You could see on my videos that my Tinery really struggled to crit, especially when casting his skill and burst. Now let's talk about pros and cons of these weapons. First is Hunter's Path. It has a really high crit substat which helps a lot in building a good crit ratio. Basically, if you have this weapon, you don't have to worry about crit rate at all and go all into crit damage. Second pro is this weapon passive. It synergizes very well with Tinery's passive that increases his DMG based on his M. Same here for his weapon, although it's a shame it doesn't increase his burst damage. Third one is 12% elemental DMG bonus. Pretty useful since other weapons require you to do something to obtain that buff, while this just gives you just by equipping this weapon. Fourth one, if you are a whale, then I'm sure you will like refinements of this weapon. It gives you a huge damage bonus at R5, outDPSing R5 amos bow by a lot. Fifth one, it looks cool. Cons time. First con is a low base attack. It isn't a huge problem for Tinery because he scales off elemental mastery, but won't be a very good choice for characters that scale off base attack like Beruzin and Sarah. His weapon joined the family of massive crit substats and 4-star base attack like Red Horn and Aqua Simulacrum. Second con is, as I said previously, this weapon does not increase his boost and skill damage at all due to him scaling. Third con is the mechanism of obtaining buffs which activates after firing an arrow, so after using his skill only 2 arrows will get the buff. Amos bow is also pretty useful. It gives you quite a lot of attack, which will not only increase his charged attack damage, but also skill and burst as mentioned before. It also increased charged attack damage by 12%, which isn't a lot, but it's okay, I think. Its passive is also pretty good, but I wouldn't say exactly on Tinery, especially when he's C2. It increases damage of charged attack based on how far are you from the enemy, so it definitely has some downsides as well as upsides. Amo S-Bow is obtainable throughout standard banner and weapon banner, so you might get it if you want it or not. Also shame that it doesn't give any extra crits, but I guess that's too much for a standard banner weapon. But overall, I think Amos Bow is a better choice for Tinery if you have Dendro Goblet especially. But if you have M Goblet, then Hunter's Path also going to be great. Both of these weapons have their downsides. All off, I'm going to stick to Hunter's Path thanks to crit rate it provides. But if you have Amos Bow and didn't pull for Tinery's weapon, you haven't lost much.